Well, good evening. Welcome along to Super League Raw Weekly. It's good to have your company. This will be a Paul Vaughan free zone this evening. I think we did that to death on the Final Whistle podcast. If you want to hear what we had to say about Mr. Vaughan and all what went on at the Leigh Sports Village and all the games at the weekend, get yourself over to the Final Whistle. Download that on your way to work tomorrow. As always, with me this evening, the whole panel is back. Mr. Scholes is back with us. Hello, Joel.
Hello, good evening. We're on a roll this week now.
We
2
are
weeks in a
indeed.
row.
As you weren't on the Final Whistle, I will let you have a bit of an input, mate. Paul Vaughan, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I think just very silly refereeing. I think don't want to get too much into it, but I think the play acting. I'm not talking about the Paul Vaughan situation because I know that's a bit of a contentious thing, but I think the play acting is starting to really come into play now a little bit. We're seeing people stay down longer than what we would have done previous years. So yeah, people know how to play into the favour, and that needs to just slow down a bit. If it's a genuine injury, fine, totally get it, stay down and get yourself checked over. But we're just seeing it a bit far too often now, and it's raising questions with other people.
And I think what we'd all agree with when Steph mentioned it about, I think it was who was it? It was Maludi. When you see someone like Maludi at London, that's what creates the grey area around everyone. All I would say to people is go back and watch In the Sheds and consider my words. The word could was in there. People are talking about. At no point do you hear me say anything, really. I'm just merely commentating. As I think Steph also agreed with me. It's not for me to come out and put the record straight. It's for Sam Burgess to come out and put the record straight. I'm here to call it. It's been alleged. I'm talking about allegations, and that's all it was. I felt a bit upset this week, Steph. I don't mind telling you, the Roarers falling out with Big Dave. What's going on?
Well, I think the Leigh fans need to refresh the memory. I mean, in terms of Super League Raw and coming into Super League 2 seasons ago, I don't think there's been any bigger advocate than Super League Raw and yourself, specifically, Dave, in terms of the positivity around the rebrand and the successes of Leigh for the thingy. Now, we obviously disagree, as people would on the here on the Final Whistle, and I'd urge people to go and listen to that because it was a really, really good debate, but done in the right way as well, with respect for everybody. What not to defend Leigh fans, because obviously if your team are going to get accused of cheating by Sam Burgess or whatever, then they are going to be defensive. That's naturally going to happen. I think what's not helped is that I think everyone would agree that the Fenton Rogers red card was even, regardless of what you think of either red cards, that one was more ridiculous. And if you look at Luke Robinson's interview after that, he makes no allegations about Ritson play acting. Nobody's accused and telling players of telling people to stay down. I've not heard anything like that. So I think that's the big difference in the two decisions where the Leigh fans have probably gone a bit defensive. But we can all go a bit over the top. And what everyone's got to remember is it's just a game of rugby. Yes, it has a big impact. Yes, there's lots of talking points, and we can all agree to disagree on it. I don't even agree with some of the Leigh fans who said it was a red card. I think it was a yellow. I think there was mitigation, but that's my opinion. Everyone's entitled to that. But I'll just reiterate, there's nobody done more to promote from the social media podcast perspective the Leigh Leopards rebrand and successes than this show.
Cheers, mate. No, that's very kind. And you're right. And like I say, I always try and call it straight. And I think what you'll go and see, because Reggie was with us as well on Sunday, if you go and listen to the Final Whistle podcast, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you respectfully agree and disagree. And that's what we want our social media platforms to be as well. I can't remember a week where I've got rid of so many people for vile language. Yeah, the odd swear word, yeah, I'll let it slide. And, it depends on the context. But there's some really poor comments this week, and I've got to call it out. We're aiming to build a community that are respectful, that love the game of rugby league, and actually want to get together and debate and watch games together in camaraderie. That's what we're trying to build. If that doesn't suit you, if that's not what you want, if you want to get personal, great. Go and find another platform. Ours isn't for you, and I make no bones about it. And it's not because I'm getting precious or we're getting precious. We don't behave that way. we expect you guys not to behave that way. And, you know, we have kids on our social media platforms. People will argue, well, they shouldn't be. Well, I'm not the mum, I'm not the dad. That's for them to decide. But the bottom line is, as long as they are on a platform that we're putting together, we will protect them from language that they should not be hearing, especially from grown men and women. And I'll just leave that there, really. So anyway, that's a bit of a negative, really, to start the show. But there you go. It's one of those things. Let's get into some more positivity, shall we? First things first, where are we going to start this evening? Well, first things first, I think we've got to start again in a positive way. Last week on the show, we had probably our best performance ever in terms of getting new members. It's continued. We've also got Jake Marsh. Jake was a picture of us after the game at Leigh. Thank you, Jake, for joining the Super League Raw membership. Ollie Deering as well. And Linda and Gary. Neither have got a surname. They just go by Linda and Gary. But it's absolutely marvellous that they are with us.
And we've also got Millie as well, who's just put in the chat.
She
shows a member.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, Millie, as well, happy days. Great to have you as well. And if you do join during the evening, get in the chat. We will be giving you big shout-outs as we go through the night. Right, more Super League Raw news on the membership, actually. Jake is the first annual member. That's right. You can now, if you don't want to do a direct debit, I had a bit of feedback on that. Some people don't want a direct debit because the prices are so cheap. They just want to pay for a year's subscription and then renew it in a year's time. That is now available, and you get a month free. That's right. 12 months for the price of 11. Happy days. And of course, that's available to existing members who are on a direct debit. So if you want to switch over to annual, get a little bit of money off and show that level of support, then crack on. It'd be absolutely marvellous to have you. The quiz night will be coming on Thursday, the 19th of September. That's Thursday, the 19th of September at 8 p.m. Right. Grand final tickets up for grabs. Now, the actual prize, ladies and gentlemen, is for members only. I am only taking a member to the grand final with us. So that will be exclusive in terms of a prize to members. However, everybody can come for free and play. But basically, it will be the highest scoring member that we will take. And then we will also have a second random prize draw for members for the second ticket. That's right, for the second ticket. Now, if you win that ticket and you want to bring your partner to come and join the game with us, all you need to do then is drop me a line. I pay for both at the same time. You reimburse me for one. We're all going to go together. So there's going to be tickets up for grabs. One ticket up for grab for the member who wins the quiz, and then a random draw that will be weighted by your membership, and that will be live on Super League Raw Weekly the week after, where you could be joining us, the Super League Raw team, and other members as well at the grand final. That is going to be something not to be missed. Let me tell you now, Magic was great. The grand final should be better. So that's a little bit of Super League Raw news. If you want to do, there is a QR code there at the top of the screen in the chat, or whatever you're listening to, watching. You can press the button and go and take a look at the memberships and decide. But yeah, grand final tickets, that's the next one up for grabs. We're not going to be talking Paul Vaughan. We've done it to death. That's not what we're going to do tonight. Like I say, go and watch the final whistle, listen to the final whistle. However, 23% of you were spot on today's poll. 23% of those who voted did say Vaughan would keep his 3-game ban, and he has. So well done to you guys. Right, let's get into some debate, shall we, gentlemen? First things first, this little good bit of news. Congratulations to the Salford future secured. Greg, your sausage rolls are going nowhere, matey.
I am a happy man tonight when I read that news. The best sausage roll in Christendom. Yeah, I'm delighted for him. Now, come on, Salford fans, let's get through the door. Now your future's secure. Now the council have decided to back you. Let's get filling the ground because you've got a good team there. I know it's not in Salford. I know it's not the Willows. But, hey, you've got sausage rolls, you've got beer, you're just down the road from Wagamama's at the Trafford Centre. Other restaurants are available. Get down there, support your team. Come on, you've got a great little team there. Especially if they may well qualify in the top 6 this season. I don't think it's beyond the realms of doubt, is it? They can still get in the 6. So yeah, come on. I'm delighted for them. I'm delighted for me because I love their sausage rolls.
And as long as attendances are giving out, you've got somebody rivaling you, Joel. So you must be happy.
Yeah, well, at least they've got a venue sorted. We've got like 5 years to sort ourselves out, but there we go. That's another debate.
Well, look on the bright side, mate. Come the 14th of September, you're going to have at least 2 more people in the stands. Happy days. Looking forward to that, brother. That's going to be a proper do with you and Mr. Roach. Oh, no. Actually, no, Greg can't come, so it's just me and Leigh. Greg's birthday.
Yeah, it's my birthday weekend, so
you need to go and have a chat with your mum. It's a disgrace.
Anyway. My dad more than my mum.
Oh, your dad, yeah, all his fault. Yeah, of course, he was the one who broke the waters. But anyway, that's it. Let's not go there. It's biology lessons. What are we doing here? Anyway, and Steph, from your perspective, you're delighted as well. I would have thought that Salford have got their future secured.
Absolutely. Just from a fan's perspective, I remember the days at Hilton Park when our future was, they were on about that going bust, and it's not a nice position to be in. So any security for any club should be welcomed by all fans. Just look at the predicament Whitehaven are in as a championship club. So for them, yes, it's great news. And hopefully, like Reggie says, I fully support that as well in terms of they get the fans down there now, and they deserve to be playing in front of 9,500, 10,000.
The brand of rugby they play, absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about that whatsoever. Just quickly there, Bazza Kingston asking, he's wondering what the one-off payments are. It's basically your membership times 12 minus 10%. The site does it all for you, Baz. My advice to any member is get to the end of your current payment, just and then switch over, and that way you get your full entitlement for this current payment, and then if you want change to annual, so you get a little bit of bonds back as a thank you from me, and of course that's how that one works. So yeah, happy days, well done. Don't want to carry on harping on about that, as we say every week, and we've got 105 of you in there already, and more besides, I'm sure. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe and comment. Like, share, subscribe and comment. Even put in the comments, here's that muppet who talks about Paul Vaughan all the time. Do whatever you want. Any publicity is good publicity. Get out there, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that everybody knows that Super League Raw is the only place to be on a Tuesday night. Right, where are we going next, gentlemen? Where are we going next? We are going to this little nugget. I personally am delighted. Announced today, Lewis Murphy will be returning from obscurity. The Sydney Roosters, not really done any good for our Lewis. Great news. This for Saints fans. Boys, before I bring you in, you do know I like a little graphic. Oh, yes. And I do. And I've done a special, if you've actually looked on our social medias, I showed you how well Lewis Murphy played in season 2022, his breakout season. If you remember, everybody was considering Lewis Murphy potentially could have been Young Player of the Year in 2023 before he got that ACL injury in round 3. I think everybody should be very, very nervous if you're not a Saints fan, because I think this is a bit of an upgrade. Here we go. Lewis Murphy, there is 2022 performance next to Makinson and Blake this year. Of course, he doesn't kick goals. I get that, but look at what they are getting. 19 appearances in 2022. If you can get that form in, look at the try difference. Incredible. For those listening on the podcast, Murphy played 19 times in 2022. Mason 17 times this season. Blake 21. Murphy 17 tries. Makinson 10. Blake 11. He set up 4 tries, Murphy, that season. Neither Makinson or Blake have set one up this year. Tackle busts. Murphy 62, Blake 52, Makinson 36. Clean breaks 20 for Lewis Murphy. 10 for Blake, 8 for Makinson. Tackles, does a decent job there. Not as much as Blake, 124. He does 88. 88 tackles he did in those 19 games, 57 for Makinson. Missed tackles, 26 to Makinson's 34 to 41 for Blake. Errors, probably because of his youth. Let's not forget, when he played that season, he was only 20. Let's not, we're comparing him here with a seasoned pro in Tommy Makinson. In fact, let me rephrase that. A class act in Tommy Makinson. And Blake, of course, an NRL, a person who's been brought in from the NRL. And then carries, he outshines them in the carries and he outshines them in the meters. I'll leave that graphic up. Just wanted to remind everybody how good Lewis Murphy was in 2022. This perhaps, Greg, Saints' best. I know they've got Sailor coming in and they've got the other winger lad coming in that we did a feature on our social media. But I actually think this one turns out for Saints, this could be their best thus far for 2025.
It could be. You've got to remember he's not played a lot of rugby over the last 2 years.
Good
down under. He had an injury, I think, the season before.
Yeah,
and he's not really broke through in the NRL. So he could be a little bit rusty when he gets over here, but I think he's probably a signing for the future. Maybe a little bit like T. Ritson was a couple of seasons ago. Not really fulfilled his potential, but yeah. if he does fulfil his potential, he's going to be a great signing for Saints.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Joel, did you forget how good Lewis Murphy was in 2022?
No, because I know of Lewis Murphy. Very, very good player. And as far to say as I'd say he's a bigger signing than what Jack Wellsby's become for them. But also, just to add on that, Dave, if you don't mind, that on the errors count, there's always going to be more errors when you're involved more. Because when you look at that, he actually gets involved a lot more than Makinson does and Blake in some scenarios. Like, for example, you look at the missed tackles, his defence is very good. His clean breaks annihilates them guys. Tackle bus absolutely crushes them. So he's getting involved with the play more, not just on the attacking side, but also on the defensive. So he's always going to naturally have more errors anyway.
I think what you're saying there in a Mike Eccles kind of way is that Mr. Murphy was not playing with as good a cattle as Tommy Makinson and Wonga Blake. Steph, Lewis Murphy, you're pretty well versed, but I think if you'd have been coming in to replace Charlie, you wouldn't have said no, would you?
I don't know. I don't know, mate, on that one. I think my only concern, I mean, when you look at his season at Wakefield, I saw obviously the highlights today. He's got some gas. He looks like a really, really good player. My only concern is he's had the ACL, which and he's not been able to break into that Roosters team, which I know is a very big ask for any young player to get into it. And he will have obviously picked up a lot of experience over there, which is, great working on. Is it still Trent Robinson at Roosters?
It is, yeah. He's not happy this week, Trent, but yeah, go on.
No, I know he's not very happy at all, is he? Is it Whitehead? Leg drop.
Whitehead, yeah. For those who don't know, Elliot Whitehead did a drop. What do you call him?
Leg drop.
Hip drop.
Tackles, and he apologised to Trent Robinson and to the lad that he did. It was Sam. What's his surname? The young kid, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. He said he's done it too many times. Is what he was basically
too many times, and basically wouldn't shake his hand, and that's the end of Elliot Whitehead.
We digress. Yeah, we digress. But it's a good point. It's a talking point, that, isn't it? In terms of Elliot Whitehead's NRL career coming to an end. We talked about Makinson at Saints. That's his NRL career gone. No, that's my only concern. But on the positive side, he's 100% got potential. He's young, and he would have learned a hell of a lot under Trent Robinson at the Roosters with some very good players. And I'm assuming he's played. He must have played some.
Nothing in the top. No, it's very, very odd. Like I say,
that's even more concerning for me. That if he's coming that rusty, saying that he'll probably come and be Man of Steel next year now.
But I would like to think the kid will come back and
hopefully he does well. He's got potential. Looking at that Wakefield, and I know Wakefield had a pretty decent season, didn't they, in 22?
Yeah, mate. He was. Let me tell you now, and I mean this in all sincerity, if Lewis Murphy doesn't get an ACL, Wakefield did not finish bottom of Super League last season.
No.
That was a hammer blow for him. I was really looking forward to Lewis Murphy last year in Super League. I was gutty when he got his ACL. I was really looking forward to watching him. But there you go. C'est la vie, as they say. But anyway, he's back, and that's going to be interesting to watch. Congratulations to Saints. That could be an inspired bit of business. Let's say hello to a few people. Dawn Baker, she's in the chat. Hello, Dawn, Super League Raw member, says she's going to be joining us at the grand final. Outstanding. Well done, Dawn. Joe Dalgreen with us, as always. Bazza Kingston, we've already said hello to. Hello to Corey Graham. I'm seeing what you're putting in the chat, so we will try and get through this as much as possible. Danny, the link for the membership is already in the description of what you're watching, so that's in there, but I will put it in the chat for you as well in a minute, mate, so keep your eye out for that. Good to see. Oh, and actually, can we say a big hello to Callum Calver? Callum, great to have him back in the community. We won't go into too much detail there, other than say that, Callum, you have been absolutely missed, and it's wonderful, sir, to have you back with all your tackle and fly fisherman jokes and everything. It's an absolute delight to have you back with us. Right, let's move on. Plenty to go through tonight, because Andy Last, I don't think it's become official this yet. Forgive me, guys, I've not gone back to LFC's website, but the rumour is right that Andy Last will be returning to Hull FC for the 2025 season as part of Cartwright's backroom team in terms of coaching. Joel, I'll start with you on this one. Andy Last is a great coach. Might not have worked out as a head coach, but he's well respected, isn't he, as a coach?
Absolutely. To be fair, with his age, I thought he was going to be part of the playing roster. So Yeah, I was quite surprised to hear he was going to go into the coaching side again. No, he's going to be a great addition. He's Andy Last. I've got a lot of time for him. I think he's a great coach. Just because your head coaching time at one club didn't work out so well, doesn't mean that you're not a good coach. And we're certainly going to see how he's going to bring on some of the lads that are going to come through, especially the younger lads at FC. Not that there's many of them, but the ones that are, he'll certainly be great for, because he's a good people's person. He's Andy Last, so he'll be a great bit of business for him in that case.
Greg, with the exception of John Asiata, this is probably their best signing, isn't it?
So yeah, well, he won back-to-back cups with him.
Yeah. He won the academy as well, did he? Didn't he win? He won the academy at Hull FC as well. He's academy coach. I'm sure he did.
I couldn't say with any conviction.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Sure he did.
I'm sure somebody in the chat will confirm that. But yeah, as Joel says, I agree completely. Just because you have a bad experience doesn't make you a bad coach. Maybe our old friend Darryl Powell is a signpost for that. Did well at Cass, didn't do too well at Warrington, but seems to be doing well at Wakefield. So yeah, I hate to say this, but he couldn't do much worse, could he? Really?
Well, Joel Green getting into Steph's ribs there in the chat, saying he's become a good fisherman himself on our WhatsApp group. As always, the WhatsApp group has been great value this week. Steph, let's not also forget Sean Wayne is no mug. He brought Andy Last into the England setup. That is a big vote of confidence for Andy Last, isn't it, as a coach?
Definitely. I'm just pleased because I get to use my joke again. They should have signed Andy first, not Andy last.
Night. See you next
anyway,
week.
yeah. And on that topic, we need to give Greg Roach a yellow card. Greg Roach, NFL draft instead of Super League Raw on a Tuesday. An absolute disgrace, sir. But actually, we might come back to that. Actually.
Don't knock it, because the way we're going, we could all our players could have helmets and padding on next season.
Well, maybe, but actually, do you know what? And again, isn't it mad? He's just going to put that in the chat. And look what we were going to talk about anyway. And I have to give a bit of credit. I was listening to 4020. Don't do it often, but I did this week. And actually, in fairness to him, he come up with a decent idea. The War of the Roses, IMG, of course, have given that the green light. And what they were saying on 4020, and I want to have a quick chat with you about this. I know, Steph, you watched it. They were talking about why don't we get two celebrities, very similar to what they do in the football, I can't remember, the UNICEF one, get two celebrities and a proper rugby league coach to head up two sides, and they do a draft. It's open season. You can pick, so you pick your fullback, you feel like you're back in the schoolyard, and both sides can pick a draft. And it's all done with a little bit of razzmatazz. Maybe get a charity involved, like, for example, the Rob Burrow MND, initiative. So in the same way UNICEF, do something like that. Could that have a little bit of razzmatazz about it? Is that a better fit than War of the Roses? Greg, you might not have watched 4020, but the concept of having a draft on TV, each coach has a pick on a round-robin kind of way. So, for example, as we all know, the fullback of choice would be Matt Duffy this season, and then the second person picks the fullback. Only joking, guys, but, just having a bit of sport with you. Personally, I'd want it to be English players only, if they were going to do that, because I think we've got to, like Origin, look at developing the English side or the Great Britain side. So I think that all Australian inputs should be kept out. If we're going to do that, we may as well have the exiles again. But a draft, Greg, would that float your boat? A little bit of razzmatazz on Sky Sports. We don't know who they're going to pick.
No, not for me.
Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, no, it's too much of a gimmick. I think if we're going to do War of the Roses, have War of the Roses. I mean, as Dawn says, there's not many truly Lancashire clubs left, but the old Lancashire border, Dawn, and the Yorkshire border, including Humberside as well. No, we don't need. The last thing we need at this moment, that to me is a bit like Club Call, which was absolutely ludicrous. At me, no, get rid of the gimmicks. If we're going to have a War of the Roses, have it like Origin, a three-game run, alternating between Lancashire and Yorkshire as they do, and maybe having a neutral ground up a neutral game somewhere, maybe in the Midlands for the final game, like they do in Origin, taking it to Perth and places like that. Yeah, for me, do you know what? I'm still a big advocate of the kind of county cups, the Lancashire Cup and the Yorkshire Cup, and then having the winners of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Cup play off against each other. But I'm old school. But no, for me, I don't want any more gimmicks. I want us to get back to producing a really good product like we can have with this sport, and that for me is a gimmick too far. I'm afraid people might disagree with me.
Well, Mark Smith does. He likes the idea of a draft. That said, though, Joel, if we're going to go Greg's route and get rid of the War of the Roses, battle for the Pennines. Let's go back to my idea. There's a flag that's going to be raised over the Pennines for 12 months. Is it going to be the North or the South's flag? And, people driving over the Pennines see the flag. That really get in people's throats.
Can I say? I don't know why we're giving 40-20 the Rockets, because I don't know if you remember, there was a certain panelist on Super League Raw 3 weeks ago from Huddersfield said the War of the Roses. And he also had this very idea that they've just come up with all of a sudden. It didn't get a lot of airtime, and you thought it was a good idea.
I blinked. I missed Greg Roach on this.
I was going to say, when was Greg Roach on Super League Raw?
Final whistle, Greg. I can't remember him being on Super League Raw weekly, was he? You pat yourself on the back, big fella. Yeah.
So, but what I'd do is this: is if you're going to have the draft pick, which I think is good, in only one circumstance, what you'd have is you'd have the players who, off the new rules or the new idea of whoever's not part of a quota spot, you would allow them to play. For me, that then would be something that you can go by, because there's a lot of very good players that now no longer would serve under that quota spot, and I think they should be allowed to play for it because they've been here long enough with us. So for me, that'd be a much better game to watch.
So, mate, your Super League Raw mum's looking after you in the chat, Dawn, telling us to leave you alone. Bless her. That won't be happening, Dawn. Won't be happening, Dawn. I mean, we're waiting for what Joel's gaff this week's going to be. He's always good for a gaff during the show. We're waiting on that one.
It's coming.
Craig Forth. I mean, Craig, let's be fair. Craig Forth, Super League Raw member, saying Yorkshire versus the Alliance counties. Oh, just gets rid of it. Why don't we do the Empire against the Alliance? Get a bit of Star Wars in it. They can come on with lightsabers. Oh, maybe not.
Anyway. Who's going to be who, though, Dave? Who's the Empire? Who's the Alliance?
Well, I've never called you Yoda in public, sir, but if you want me to. Anyway, over to...
Anyway, takes his mask off, to be honest.
Oh, dear, only joking, mate. Steph, your thoughts on that?
I've always been a fan of War of the Roses. I think when it's been approached before, I think it's a really good idea. I think it should be used for Great Britain selections. I think it falls in line with the NRL buying the Super League, hopefully. That I think we need to mirror what they're doing. And then this is where it comes into the international game for me. And the Aussies use it for their Australian Test selection. And then obviously with a series every year against Australia or, at least New Zealand or somebody else. But I think to say that there isn't Lancashire v Yorkshire anymore is ridiculous because every club that I go to, every grade that I go to, they sing Lancashire and they sing Yorkshire, so I think there still is that rivalry there. I think it's all about marketing. And I think
exactly.
If it's marketed correctly, if it's done professionally, and the build-up is done seriously and it's treated as a GB selection, you'll get the players buy-in as well. Because my problem with like a UNICEF type game, which you run about there, Dave, which 40-20 mentioned, is that all that'll happen is all the players will just pull out because the coaches won't risk them in a charity, whereas the players will want to play in a War of the Roses if they know that Great Britain selection's on the line. Look at what it meant to Mikey Lewis last season. And if you say to the players, this is your only way of getting into the England sky, if you don't play in these games, you're not getting in England, then we'll see buy-in, then we'll see passion in the games, then we'll see them wanting to knock 10 bells out of each other because there's a Great Britain place at the end of it.
So if I've heard
Dave, I never said that I didn't agree with War of the Roses, mate.
No, I didn't see this.
I agree with it 100%.
But people are putting words in my mouth this week. It's terrible.
Sorry, I thought you said that. Doesn't agree with it. I agree. I didn't. War of the Roses.
I was pulling your leg.
Gimmicks. We don't need gimmicks. We just need good, hard rugby league.
No. I definitely said Yoda though. But if I'm getting Steph right, if I'm getting Steph right here, what he's saying is there's a chance that a St. Helens player might play a mid-season international. I mean, that's what he's saying. And I think what he's also saying is he's always had a little thing for Kathleen Turner, and he does a good Michael Douglas impression as well. He does like a bit of War of the Roses, does our Steph, and there's no question about that. Right, let's get into a bit of culture there, Greg, bit of culture. Right, let's get into this one. Chris Hill. For whom the cowbell tolls. Hey, you couldn't write this script, could you? Outstanding stuff. I'm going to come to you, Joel. I know you're on the inside. You probably knew about this well in advance. As a Huddersfield Giants fan, over to you. I'm sure you'd want to pay tribute to Chris.
Yeah. Before I give my opinion on what I think to it, he's been one of the most incredible players that we've signed for one reason and one reason only. How much he's helped bring on some of our young forwards. Having someone like Chris Hill, you can only but thank for everything they do, even if they don't play. I know that he's helped Ollie Wilson more than anyone, probably. You know, you look at the way Ollie Wilson plays now, and it's very reminiscent of what Chris Hill played when he was younger. You know, very aggressive, not scared of anyone, and he'll go in for any tackle. So as regards that and what he's done for the club, and the respect he's given to the club under some very tough times that we're still struggling with, and we've struggled for 80+ years. He's shown a lot of respect, and even when the change with Watto came, because he was one of Watson's products that came through to the Giants at the time, he stuck with us, and that's really important to us Giants fans. We're very loyal, and as regards what he's done for the club, it's been great. And do you know, I've had a few opportunities to speak to him, and he's such a genuinely nice guy. He's not bothered about the glitz and the glamour and the fame. He just wants to play rugby.
Yeah, great in convo. I enjoyed doing the in convo with Chris, I have to say. I thought he might retire. However, rumour mill, Steph, he could get a swan song at Leigh. You heard that? A lot of rumours.
I've heard some rumours. How credible it is, I don't know, because I know Chris quite well. He has a plumbing business that's based just on the outskirts of Leigh in Lowton. And I know he wants to focus on that. I wouldn't be surprised if he did want to carry on in a part-time basis, or maybe even as a squad player still at a Super League club. I don't know. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. He could still do a job. I just don't think he's the player that he was, and that's no insult to Chris. It's just that's fact. You know, he's just getting older. But what I would say with Chris is we're very lucky that he's played for all of our teams in terms of starting off his professional game at Leigh, then moving over to Warrington in terms of one of the biggest signings of, you know, the probably the decade in terms of an English player going to Warrington. There, he's made that big of an impact at Warrington, going on to be the captain there, and then obviously moving over to Huddersfield. And what a servant he's been. You know, he was fantastic at Leigh, he was fantastic at Warrington, and he's been great at Huddersfield. He's not let any club down that he's been at. And also obviously represented Great Britain as an enforcer as well. So you can't really do much more, and you can't win much more than what Chris Hill's done.
And Greg, you know, final word from myself as a Warrington fan. I mean, in some respects, in the modern era, he set sort of a trend when Warrington took him out of Leigh. You know, we've seen a lot of other players, the likes of Wormsley's, you know, these type of players that have been plucked out. And you mentioned T. Vitson earlier. You know, suddenly Super League clubs are taking Ashton at Warrington. There's another one. There's so many examples where, you know, all of a sudden Chris Hill was a hell of a find, probably had his best years at Warrington, and all of a sudden it was like, well, what else is in the Championship?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some big raps for a certain forward from Oldham that are going around at this moment in time. But yeah, you know, James Harrison as well, a pathfinder, if you like. You know, he paved the way, I think, for a lot of. There's always been the odd player coming through from the lower divisions into Super League and into the old First Division. Well, Chris Hill has been a superb servant for Rugby League.
Minchella. Okay, he was at Bradford, wasn't he?
Yeah, Minchella. But, you know, I'm pleased for him that when he left Warrington, there were a lot of people saying he was finished. And a lot of those were Warrington fans. And I am absolutely delighted for him that he proved them wrong, because he, as Joel probably support this. He put in some fine performances for Huddersfield. Led from the front. And my endearing image of Chris Hill is when we beat Saints at Wembley. There's a video, Access All Areas, where it's kind of doesn't show much of the game, just reactions of players or whatever. And Chris Hill he's fighting back the tears when he knows Warrington are going to win the cup against Saints, and that will be my endearing image of Chris Hill. He's a true. For me, he's a great player, and he's never let anybody down.
I'd put him up there as one of the best players never to a grand final.
But
thanks for that.
Be in the bracket.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you were going to pick a 1 to 13 best players who've never won a grand final, he'd certainly be in the conversation, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Warrington 2013.
Yeah. And you're right, when he went to Huddersfield, I mean, Joel, you'd admit, the season where, you got to Wembley and you did really well in the league, Chris was pivotal to that season, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then you look at the actual final itself, I feel like, because we actually lost that game more on kicks, not just the Liam Marshall try, we actually lost on kicks. But we feel like we all said at the same time that if Chris had have carried on playing, because remember, it was early on, he got injured. Yeah. If he'd have carried on playing, it may have been a totally different story, because at the time, Wigan were struggling with our forwards because Chris was just running rampant. And but just a final thing on this, what I was wanting to say was, and this just shows what Chris is as a person, he had 1 year left in his extension of his contract. So he knew that he had 1 year left, but he also probably knew that he wouldn't be playing the best rugby that he could play for the club. So he probably said, I'll step back, because Chris is just unreal. Just a few weeks ago, he got taken off for a HIA assessment. He passed it, but he was fuming that he got taken off. He was like, I'm absolutely fine. He wanted to play on. It just shows some people would want to go off just for the break, where he wanted to be on playing, and he'd been playing for 35 minutes. So it just shows what kind of guy he is.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to my words very carefully, based on what Joel has just said. What he's basically saying is that Chris would appear not to have asked compensation, like allegedly other people have. Always consider the words that he used, ladies and gentlemen. Always consider the words that are used. Anyway, we digress. We move on again. Right, I think, you know what? I can't think of any other news. Greg Roach is in complete agreement. He thought that they'd have had a really good chance of winning that Challenge Cup final had he had stayed on the field. Sean Allen Spencer, good to see you. It's been a while, sir. And Tom, Tom McKay, I'm going to go McKay. Alex Wormsley, he's spot on, absolutely spot on. Another member here at Super League Raw. How can we not mention big Alex Wormsley, soon to be in conversation?
Kyle Amor as well.
Kyle Amor, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. Right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is just have a quick look at who were the top performers in round 24, like we do every week. Here they are.
Here are your top performers from round number 24 of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer with a hat-trick against the London Broncos was Reece Martin of the Leeds Rhinos. Tex Hoy, Jack Broadbent and Harvey Barron all got 2. The most try assists, all with 2, came from Petter Hiku, Brodie Croft, Adam Kieran, Lachlan Lamb, Tui Lolohea and Jack Campagnolo. The top meter maker was Lee Kershaw of the London Broncos with 205, Ryan Hall got 173, Jai Field 172 and Fahad Jahar 171. The top tackle buster with 11 was Akeem Maludi of the London Broncos with 11, whilst the most clean breaks came from Tex Hoy of Castleford Tigers with 3. The most offloads came from Hakeem Maloney of the London Broncos with 6, whilst the top hard meter maker was Tom Amone of the Leigh Leopards with 133. The top tackler, once again, was Cameron Smith of the Leeds Rhinos with 49, whilst the most goal kicks came from Rowan Milnes of the Castleford Tigers with 7 against Hull FC. These were your top performers for round number 24 of the Betfred Super League.
Some exceptional performances in there. Good to see some of the London Broncos boys in there as well. Greg, Fahad Jahar. We called it Try of the Week this week on Super League Raw. It was a thing of absolute beauty. Oh, yes. Go on, Fahad Jahar. What a try that was against the Warriors.
It's wonderful. It was a great try. It was a great try. And just one question, Dave. Do forward passes count as try assists these days?
Well, I think
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. I have to say that was I think Steph mentioned it, the Robertson one, wasn't it? The ball out to
Robertson, yeah,
and that I have to say stuck in my throat a little bit in terms of a contender for the top 5. I thought the length of the field ones that we chose for Hadjahar, Joel Mellor, Tex Hoy, some wonderful tries.
Yahar's try was wonderful.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis's was lovely. I think the one that just missed out was Jack Campagnolo's, because I thought he took that really well.
Yeah.
Really well. I mean, Joel, I don't know why I'm coming to you, but Jack Campagnolo at Huddersfield, based on his recent performances, mate, would you be against the idea?
No, it's funny you said that, because I said to somebody at the ground the other day, I said, wouldn't he be great to have in Huddersfield side? I think he'd be a great addition, because it's a shame he missed out as well, because Matt, I think that's probably one of his better games he's had all season, and he just seems to be getting better week by week.
Yeah, he's a class act. Good evening to Freddie McGilvery, who's in the chat. I don't know if he's pre or post op. He was mentioning up last week. If you're looking at it, drop us a little note. Freddie, are you well? Is everything tickety boo, sir?
Yeah, I'll be okay, mate.
Will we be seeing you?
Freddie has had it. He has had it. Yeah, hope you're well, Freddie.
A speedy recovery, Mr. Gilvery. We want you at the grand final, chains and all. It would just not be the same without Uncle Freddie, it has to be said. Let's just quickly confirm the results from the weekend. Do you know what? It was a really good weekend of rugby league. Tight game at the Leigh Leopards, 16-12. Robins, 32-12. I'm going to come back to that. Hull FC, 20. Tigers, 39. Good win that for the Tigers, no issues there. Dragons, 18, put up probably a better fight than many thought against the Warriors. Giants, very unlucky against Saints, 13-13 would have been interesting. And the Broncos, absolutely outstanding. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail, very confident, very conscious here, ladies and gentlemen, of the time. But, guys, that win for the Robins against a good Salford side, over to you. I mean, Wigan weren't great against Catalan. I mean,
well, I actually think I fancied Salford. I thought, I think every team has got a slip up in them, and I did think this might be the weekend that Hull came out. I'm probably back to bottom now in the predictions league because I've had an awful week.
No, you didn't have a bad week, actually.
I really did think that this might have been a game too far, and that Hull KR would treat it as a reset, because I think Hull KR and Wigan are assured top 2.
Yeah,
like Warrington, barring an absolute catastrophe, are guaranteed 3rd place. It's one of those games that you can quite easily lose if you're not on the ball, and that to me shows that Hull KR are possibly the real deal this season.
They're just not going anywhere, are they, Steph? Nowhere at all.
No, it's Salford have been very thingy for me. Obviously, we beat them quite easily at Magic in the end, and I always thought OKR were going to put on a bit of a score. I think I predicted 9-17. It was 20, was it? If I remember rightly. Yeah. But OKR are phenomenal at home. It's just that crowd and the atmosphere they build there, and I think they truly believe now they can win the league leaders. I think that's the difference as well. I think the whole squad's bought into that. I think the Wigan game is going to be interesting. We're going to discuss that later on. And I've got. Do we know if I'll ask now? But do we know if Harry Smith and Brad O'Neill are back yet?
I don't think O'Neill won't be. Smith's got a chance, I would have thought, but not O'Neill.
Right, because I mean that's Wigan haven't been the reason why it's relevant. I don't think Wigan have been the same. Obviously, they've not had French either. But even when French has come back last week, I know he's a bit rusty, but they still don't look as organised without Harry Smith in that side, which is what we've been saying all season about Harry Smith. In terms of that respect. So I think it's going to be a real. Well, there you go, brilliant for Wigan.
Sean Baker's just confirmed that Smith is back. Yeah. And then finally, Joel, because like I said, we need to move on really. Reece Martin going to. I did a piece on Facebook in terms of Martin when he was announced, and the great season he's having. For me, he's head and shoulders Leeds man of the season. I don't think there's anybody close to him for Leeds Rhinos this year than Reece Martin. And I said he's going to be a tough one to replace. But from a KR perspective, you put Martin into that KR side with I think he's 82% conversion currently, with the amount of tries they're scoring. If they don't do it this year and they've got a great chance, could he be that missing link?
Absolutely. Well, I remember last week I said that Reece Martin is the man that can score tries himself. He doesn't do it often, but he can. But his goal kicking will bring that. And I mentioned this, the for and against. I know you'll have seen it, Dave, and I'm sure that everyone should look at the league table. Yes, they're on the same points, but look at the for and against. It's crazy. And then you add Reece Martin into the mix. That instantly becomes another 50 points goal difference over the season easily.
Yeah.
So that's a scary prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time to be a Robin. The what's left of the Jackson 5 might be on their stage next year, tweeting away. Unbelievable stuff. What's going on down there? Good evening to Matthew Lane. That's a new one on me. I've not heard of Matthew Lane. Forgive me, Matthew, but if you've chatted before with us, mate, that's a new one on me. Welcome to Super League Raw. We hope you.
Mark Atak is saying hello from Spain.
Yes,
as well.
I know. Mark. Yeah, he's sketching away somewhere next to the sea, I'm sure.
He was skinny dipping earlier on his Facebook, he told me.
Was he? Well, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that in our.
Don't want to sketch you that, thanks.
Lord, dearie me. Right, Fantasy League. Mark Allen remains in first place, 172 points ahead of Peter Edwards. Just 3 rounds to go. Ryan Birch remains ahead for the members, 608 points in it. Me and him going head to head on that one. He's looking in good feckle. Is Ryan Birch? They are, Joel. Huddersfield might come away with something yet this season in the form and in the shape of Mr. Ryan Birch. Right, it's come to that part of the week, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to sit back and enjoy the Super League Raw Team of the Week. And just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, we don't put centres that played halfback at centre. Oh, we don't do that here at Super League Raw. All of these players played in these positions. Don't you worry about that. Here is the Super League Raw official Team of the Week for round number 24. The Super League Raw Team of the Week is proudly sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. Join the Rugby League community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting or selling property.
It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 24 with the Good Estate Agent for 2024. Here we go again at fullback is Texoy of the Castleford Tigers, who was simply fab against his old team on Saturday. Revenge, just like ice cream, can only be served cold, and Tex was even more brutal than a shark near Amity Island. At 2 is Leigh Kershaw of the London Broncos, just like a tub of Ben & Jerry's. He's packed with cookie dough, so too was Leigh's performance in terms of metres, bus and try-line aggression. In centre is Carlos Chumavara, who, like a good Mr. Whippy, never grows old. Oh yes, just like when you hear the music of an ice cream man, it's always sensible to follow the one with the money, and Carlos followed Herman to ensure he could feast on his wares and enjoy the spoils. Alongside him is Petter Hiku, who has kept his place week on week. Hiku's form reminds me of a Solero on a hot summer's day. Refreshing, tantalising, a tickle for the taste buds, and he's sure to be leaving the opposition cold every time. For his first appearance of 2024, at 5 is Fahad Yahar. Fahad doesn't have funny feet. He's more like a twister, spiralling running dynamics that leave defenders in his slipstream. For a player who has been on the outskirts this season, this performance deserved a magnum of champagne. At standoff is Jack Compagnolo, who knows his walls from his Galetto. No own brand here, folks. Good Lord, no. Jack had another performance to attract new suitors as the fans sang, "Just one more Campagnolo, give it to me." Delicious tries and assists from Italy. At 7 is Adam Kieran, whose best 2 performances have come against his former side this season. Out of position but not out-phased. This was simply brilliant, and he deservedly got to raise his knickerbocker hands in glory this week. At 8 is the guaranteed 99er percenter. Out of 100, that of course is Herman S.A.S.A. This man is as solid as an ice sculpture in Iceland on a cold winter's night. No melting here, folks. At best, you might be able to shave a shard off for your G&T at full-time quality. At 9 is Jared O'Connor of Leeds Rhinos. Time and again, he banana split the London defence with his well-timed runs and passes. He may be a mini-milk to look at, but this man, time again, is the flake on top of a Rhinos performance. At 10 is Reece Kennedy of the London Broncos, whose balance in terms of defence and attack was as refined and mature as Bailey's Cream Haagen-Dazs. No side of apple lollies here, guys. At 11 is a waffle cone in human form. Yes, he carries the load for the Wigan Warriors time and again. Leaks are very rare, allowing his teammates to sparkle like sherbet in the knowledge that Junior will stand firm. At 12 is once more the Robins bound Reece Martin. If Leeds Rhinos was a menu board, every option would be Martin, as he's the only choice to be made for man of the match in London. He was the sprinkles, the toffee fudge, the chocolate sauce, all rolled into one. Delicious! And finally, at 13, just keeping out Morgan Knowles, is Tom Amone, who adapted to loose forward as your tongue does to the different levels of a fruit pastel lolly. There's nothing knobbly bobbly about Big Tom as he prepares to bisque off to Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 24.
There you go, the fans forum, loving everything here. Craig Force giggling away. Shame he didn't do this on Sunday. Great pun, that one. Dawn Baker's off to get some rum and raisin from the fridge, and rightly so. Greg Roach is absolutely loving it as well. Nothing like a bit of ice cream as we enter the autumn. There's the team of the week, gentlemen. Greg, I always come to you first. I know you love a bit of team of the week, sir. What are your thoughts?
Not a lot of waffle there, Dave.
No waffle at all, sir.
Good team. Good
Yeah.
team. Yeah. Junior and Sember. That he's certainly hitting his straps at the right time. That kid.
Yeah.
He's absolutely phenomenal at the moment in time. I can't argue with it, Dave. Can't argue with it.
Yeah. No, great to see 3 London players in there, Steph.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a great performance again by London, and all those players had really good games. I think Binek was a bit unlucky as well not to get in, but obviously he's competing with the powerhouse that is SASA. But no, it's a good sprinkling from across the league.
Indeed, it is absolutely, and we don't mean nuts either. Nothing nutty about the Super League Raw team of the week. Joel, no Giants in there, Chief, but yeah, happy with that, mate.
Absolutely, I'm not going to be flaky with my answers, and I think Reece Kennedy was like a magnum. He shoot his shot right down the middle.
Fantastic. Lovely stuff. No wafering around here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll move swiftly on. There you go. That's your team of the week. Everybody loving a little bit of ice cream this week. You know me, I always like to keep it fresh. Anyway, we're now coming into that part of the show where we're going to look ahead to what is going to be an incredible round number 25. Oh, yes, it's what Super League is all about. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. Forget your football. This is real sport played by real men, and it's coming at you big and large this weekend. Woohoo! Let's do the old, let's get into our sponsor, and then we can start to digest, lick, do whatever you want with these wonderful little games. Steady on, Greg. We're still talking ice creams.
He's target. Here comes the wall.
Love that crunch.
Let me add a little bit of spice.
Yes, here we go. Look at these tasty little morsels right here. The Wolves going up against the Saints. Then it's the Rhinos. These are not in order, of course. Rhinos against Hull FC. Tigers go up against the Leopards. The Red Devils against the Dragons. What a mouthwater that one is. That could have massive ramifications for the playoff spots this year. Giants go up against the Broncos. And then finally, right at the bottom, we'll come to that one last. We'll keep you hanging, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to that one right at the end of this show. The Warriors taking on the Robins. I, for one, I'm sure the cannot wait for that one to come around. It's going to be a bit of a happening. Only one place really to start, but before we do, just going to have a quick look. Oh, that's a bit of a shocker. Just put that on. Let's take a quick look at the league going into the round. The Robins and the Warriors 38 apiece there. Couldn't be tighter. The Wolves look very comfortable. You'd expect the Wolves to get at least one more win. I think the Wolves are going to finish third. If I'm being honest, it would take a disaster from both the Robins and the Warriors for the Wolves to win the Shield. They won't give up hope at this stage because of this week's game in terms of second. But I think the League Leaders Shield now for the Wolves is a step too far. And then after that, just take your pick. I mean, all the way down to the Rhinos, it's still game on. It really, really is. And of course, then we've got that little battle at the bottom. Can London do what seemed impossible at the start of the season? Can they avoid being bottom of the pile? I know you want to see it, so let's do it before we start doing predictions. This is the Prediction League after 24 rounds of the season, and as you can see, couldn't be tighter once you get past Schofield. I mean, Schofield, Greg still in third, Steph only 5 behind. Joel had a better week last week. He came up. He's back in contention. He's missed the Scholes after some barren weeks, it has to be said. The fans forum also nudging past 303. So yeah, it's still very much game on. Really looking forward to seeing who comes out top of the pile within our own little Super League Raw team. But that is how it looks going into this week. Right, we're going to start with a game that perhaps doesn't mean an awful lot in comparison to the other ones. I mean, it does to London. And from a Huddersfield perspective, you'd hope that they'd want to send their fans up with a couple of wins between now and the end of the season. As you would expect, the Giants have a better record, 24-11 in 24-15 in their favour. In terms of the form guide, to be fair, London a better one, and they were unlucky at the weekend. So, of these two teams, London actually come into this in better form. There's no question about that. They did play each other in round 6 this year, very early on when London were if you remember, a lot of their key players were out at that point, injured, the likes of Rourke, etc. The Giants winning pretty comfortably on the day, 26 points to 6 that day. It's 9th against 12. 412 points scored this year for the Giants to 293 for the Broncos. As you'd expect, the Broncos, give or take, 300 points more conceded this year. 1-5 on the Giants, Joel. That's an interesting one. The Giants 1-5 on when you consider the form of the London Broncos. But let me give this a bit of context. This might surprise you. The last time the Broncos won in Super League against the Huddersfield Giants, they beat them 24-0. It was round 5 of 2008. The Giants are on a 16-game winning streak against the London Broncos. Greg, gonna come to you first. It's fascinating because of the London narrative, isn't it?
It is. It is. There are a lot of games this weekend that are going to be really, really difficult to call, and this is one of them. I think that Huddersfield would have won. I'm convinced they would have won that game this weekend if they hadn't had that ridiculous red card against them. And for Fenton Rodgers to get a 4-game ban is beyond the realms of science fiction as far as I'm concerned. But there we go. We're not talking about Paul Vaughan. And it's a difficult one because London could have won. It's a real difficult one, this. I'm going to go with home advantage. I'm sorry, Huddersfield fans. I'm going to go 9-17 Huddersfield because I think London will be absolutely crushed by the manner of defeat.
Greg Roach is now wondering why I left the NFL draft. He's crying. He's like, what have I done?
He's just around our house screaming. I'm going to go Huddersfield 9-17 because I think London will be affected more by the results at the weekend than Huddersfield will. Huddersfield had a moral victory against Saints.
Joe Dalgreen says the very generous odds for the Broncos. He's actually going the Broncos 9-17. Greg Roach is telling you to behave, Redrick, is what he's saying in there. Is he? I'll tell you the thing. I mean, obviously, we always come to Joel last when it comes to the Huddersfield Giants. Steph, Fenton Rodgers will be a loss, but I think the bigger loss is Sam Hewitt. Sam Hewitt, for me, has been probably the Giants' best player in the last 4 or 5 weeks for me.
Yeah, he's been great, hasn't he, for Huddersfield in some good performances and also some bad team performances for us. He's always seemed to, Joel's probably better qualified to talk about it than me, but he's been a great player. and he will be a loss for them definitely. But I agree with Reggie in the terms of I think London put a hell of a lot into that game. With it being the last home game, I think they wanted that win so badly, and they put everything into it. And you put in a short turnaround, along with some travel as well for them, and the efforts they put in over the weekend. I do think Huddersfield will just have a bit too much for them, and I think Huddersfield will be hurting from that Saints loss. I think you're probably right in that. Robinson especially will feel that they could have won that game, and I think Huddersfield will win by 9-17.
9-17. Before we come to Joel, welcome to the family, Ryan Moody. Oh yes, Mr. Moody is the latest member here at Super League Raw. Took the plunge this evening. I think all that talk of ice cream made his mouth water. He wanted to be a part of it. Good man. Welcome along. Plenty of more of that, where that came from. Let's quickly look at where Mr. Schofield's gone. He's gone London 9-17. I've gone London 9-17. Fans forum, they're seeing it more the way of Huddersfield 1-8 in the chat. Let's take a quick look. Give a couple of shout outs to our members. Kevin Calvert, a member, London 18+. Craig Forth welcoming Ryan to the family as well in there, which is really nice of him. Andy Robertson, London's 1-8. Ian Rispin, hello Ian, good to see you in the chat, mate. 1-8, the Huddersfield Giants. Josh Sim, London 1-8, and Robert William Hickson says that Greg, live on Super League Raw Weekly, has given the kiss of death to the Huddersfield Giants. Do you agree with him, Joel? Do you believe it's the kiss of death, or will your Giants give you something to smile about?
So, normally I'm very big on honesty, but I'm going to be very honest about my dishonesty with my predictions. So,
say again.
I'll explain. Give me a second.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt for next season.
I'm going to be very honest about my dishonesty.
Absolutely.
Sounds like my
and I'll explain my reasoning. So, all season, I believe, Davey, you'll probably tell me that I'm wrong. But every time I've predicted Huddersfield, it's been wrong. So I genuinely think that London will win this game, and I think they should win the game because they've been playing really well. However, I've gone the Giants because I think they're going to lose. So I think if they do win, then I'll get the point.
I will give a grand final ticket to anyone who can make sense of what that is all about. I don't know about you. I've only had two, and I'm looking at the empty cans, going, "There's only two of them there, isn't there?" Wow.
I'm looking for the points on the. I'm looking for the points on the board. I need them. I told you I'm reeling back.
Well, I'm going to say the point of them comments was as elusive as Steph trying to find two for Warrington around the LSV, mate. I'll tell you, dearie me.
Than Paul Vaughan's red card on Friday night.
Dearie, as Joe Dalgreen
Joe's right.
puts it, step away from the whiskey, Joel. Step away.
Can I just say,
so Joel, who did you go for then, mate?
Yeah.
Right, the Giants to win by 1-8. But I know London are going to win.
Greg Roach, John Wilkins saying you failed your HIA. It's all going off.
Says you're making more sense to the match review panel there, John.
Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, good on you, Tom. Yeah, happy days. Well, there you go. So Joel's going Huddersfield. God, I love this lad. I tell you. Honestly, Joel, you're a legend, mate. Absolutely love it when Joel Scholes is on. You're always guaranteed. I told you, Don. Told you. It was a matter of time. He's what a man. So get t-shirts. Who's going to join the Joel Scholes fan club for next year? Get it. You've got to do it. Get some t-shirts. We love the Scholes. There's only one Scholes in South Hall. What a man.
Good shake that. I think Joel t-shirts.
Joel t-shirts.
Definitely the way forward.
Yeah,
you know what, Joel? If I knew what you'd said there, I'd support you 100%, mate.
Yeah. We've had the masks. We've already had the Joel masks.
Absolutely. Let's go for a full sweep.
Genius. Right, let's move on. Right, Leeds against FC. I mean, Leeds were so lucky at the weekend. We talked about this on the final whistle. Another big shout out to Mark Hill, who made his debut, a Leeds Rhinos fan. He was different class. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, if you haven't listened to the Final Whistle podcast, download it on your way to work tomorrow. It was a cracking, respectful debate. You'll love it. You really, really will. And tell all your friends about it. Nothing like good Super League Raw debate with our members. We're very blessed. Very, very blessed with the quality of members that we've got, because they know the rugby league and they know how to debate very, very well indeed. Right, Leeds Rhinos, Hull FC. As you can see, no real surprises with Leeds' history in Super League. Nobody's surprised to see they're 45-19 up against Hull FC. Hull FC on a shocking losing streak. They just continued to lose. That said, Leeds could have easily have gone into this with a loss to the name. They'll be taking nothing for granted in this one. They have played each other twice this year, and it's one apiece. Round 9. Both of the previous games have been at the MKM. Round 9, the Rhinos won 18-12. Round 14, it was FC 18-10. It's now time, ladies and gentlemen, for the decider at Headingley Stadium. Last year, FC played twice at Headingley, winning the first 22-18 and then losing the second 34-10. But here's the interesting thing. In fact, I'll tell you what the interesting thing is when I come to Greg in a minute. First things first, 8th play 11th. The attack, 446 points Leeds have scored this year to 313 for Hull FC. Defensively, 418 conceded for Leeds, 744 conceded for Hull FC. The 1-16 on the Rhinos, I think that's astonishing. But what's even more astonishing is that Hull FC at 8-1. The bookies fancy Hull FC to beat Leeds more than they fancy London to beat Huddersfield. I can't get my head around that one.
No, was it the Joel Scholes bookies that put that one on?
God knows.
Sorry, Joel, mate. Sorry, Joe. You know I love you. No, this is... Leeds are going to win this. Leeds will win this. Leeds will win this comfortably, 18+.
Leeds 18+.
Yeah, Leeds are in that zone now where they will scrape into the 6, I think. And make a fist of it in the playoffs. I'm going Leeds 18+. We've seen this script countless times before.
So Greg does not see them melting away. Over to you, Mr. Sale. Your thoughts?
I think it's an interesting game, this one. And I think from the last few weeks, people may have noticed that my predictions have been based on ones that I wanted to get Leigh in the playoffs rather than focusing on our internal competition, which has worked out quite well in terms of that. But I think I really need to focus now on my predictions and really, I've got Joel just behind me and I've got Reggie just ahead of me in my sights. So I'm going to go with what I actually think here and what I think is really going to happen. So I'm going Hull FC 1-8.
You're on FC 1-8? Wow.
I'm only 2 points in front of you, Steph.
Yeah. Well, I'm going Leeds 9-17. We'll come to Joel in a sec. Let's get a bit of the fans forum officially have gone Leeds 9-17. Gary Schofield's gone Leeds 9-17. In the chat, where are we going? Don't want Leeds in the playoffs, says Mark Hill. Yeah, and Mark supports Leeds. He was very, very clear on that on final whistle. Tom McCain, Leeds 9-17. Carl Shaw, 18+ to the Rhinos. Kevin Calvert, another member, Leeds 20+. Ryan Moody, the new member of the evening, 20+ for Leeds Rhinos. Robert Higson, Leeds 9-17. Mark Smith, 9-17 Rhinos. A lot of love. Has anybody gone FC? Would appear that Ian Judson is not with us this evening.
The other good point there, Ian Rispin's just put a great point in there, which kind of backs it up a little bit in terms of what I was joking a little bit in terms of prediction. But if you look at the Leeds completion rate against London, it was awful, absolutely awful. If they play like that, then Hull FC have got a chance, and they're coming off the back of that performance, which I know they won the Golden Point, but they won't be happy with that performance. And if they play like that again, Hull FC could well and truly. And I'd be tempted to back Hull FC at them odds. It's worth a little cheeky punt, I think. That you never know.
Craig Force gone.
It takes a crazy red card, doesn't it?
Does indeed. I mean, Joel, from your perspective, Steph always says the bookies very seldom get it wrong, mate. Looks like Huddersfield are going to win, mate, against London.
Or Leeds.
We're not going back there again, are we? We're going to end up with another word salad now.
Because remember what I said. London have got worse odds against Huddersfield than FC have against Leeds.
Yeah,
So
they
on
are.
that basis,
Yeah.
Joel, you know, you might win that one against London, mate. I mean, can you get your head around that? Can you see where they're coming from with that? That the FC have got a better chance of beating Leeds than London have of beating you on current form?
No, and the reason being, when you look at, for me, I always look at the for and against. That's a big indicator for me as to how things are going in the previous weeks. You look at Leeds and Hull's for, there's only 100+ points difference, which really, when you look at the difference in the table, isn't massive. But what is massive is the defence, and that's the problem that Hull's got. Hull have really struggled defending their own line all season. They've not had a problem putting points on the board, but they've had a real problem stopping people from putting points on them. And it's a real shame because when I was younger, I was growing up seeing Hull FC always in the top 3, always there or thereabouts. And you would hope that they should be around about there, but they haven't been for a long time, and you don't see it happening anytime soon. Yeah. Their defence is shocking.
Yeah.
And it's worse than ours. So for that, I'm going Leeds 18+.
18
based off the defence.
So you're going Leeds 18+.
Yep.
For yourself, yeah. I mean, look, it's crystal clear with those odds that Fred Doan has got hundreds and thousands at his disposal every single week, hasn't he? Good God, love him. Outstanding stuff. So there you go. That's that game. Now we come to a big one. When we talk about complacency, we do talk about complacency. Some massive games coming up for the Leigh Leopards after this one. They've got to be bang at it. We know they played Saints last game. They've got KR as well. Those two at home, they need no motivation. This, for me, potential, very slim potential, banana skin. Leigh need to be at the races because Steph will tell you they played Castleford twice this season. A draw at the LSV in round 10 where for large parts of that game, Castleford were really good value. And then even though it was a 2010 win, that wasn't comfortable either at the Jungle for the Leopards. So there've been 2 really good battles this year between these two sides. And of course, it is at Castleford. So I think Leigh need to go into this. I think they'll win, but I do think this is one of those games where Leigh needs to be on the game, take nothing for granted, and make sure they get the prep spot on. History's 3-3. Leigh are coming into this in great form. We've gone through what's happened this year. It's 10th against 6th. You know, Leigh, better attack, 514 to 399. Better defence, 350 to 627. They're the favourites, 1 to 4 on. 16 to 5, of course, the Tigers. The Tigers, you know, no Sylvester Namo, no Liam Horn. That's a big blow. Liam Horn, he's been in good form for the Tigers in the last few, probably for the last month or so now, I would say. Liam Horn's had a really good knock. Greg, do you agree with what I'm saying there? This Leigh should win it, but the way
I think the key there. I think the key there is Liam Horn missing for Cass.
Yeah,
he's a massive miss. Obviously, Ben Thaler's a big miss for Leigh this weekend, but we're not talking Paul Vaughan. No, I think Liam Horn is a massive miss for Castleford. And I'm going 9-17 Leigh.
9-17 Leigh.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe?
I've also gone Leigh 9-17. The reason why I've not gone 18+ is that the Castleford ground is a much different kind of pitch. It's smaller. We all know that. We say that all the time. But the crowd love to get behind their team, and they love even more to get behind against the opposition. So just for that reason alone, I think it's going to stop them from being a blowout. But I think Leigh's quality is just far too good. So 9-17.
Far too. I see out about for this one, Steph.
We have a full squad to pick from. First time this season, no injuries.
Fantastic. Let's Carl Shaw as well in the chat. They are Carl, fountain of all knowledge as well. Good knowledge, sir. Good
And this is a great time to have a full squad to pick from.
100%. Mark Hill's going Leigh 1-17. Tim Jones, that's a new one on me. Hello, Tim. Hope you're enjoying Super League Raw this evening. Leigh 24 plus from him. Alan David Meadows, Leigh by 14. Stu Melton has gone Leigh 1-8. He's a bit tighter. Can't see Cass get anywhere near him, says Tom Mackay. Joe Dalgreen, Leigh 18 plus. John Wilson, Leigh 9-17. Any love for Cass in the chat? No,
not much, I don't think.
Not a prayer for the Castleford Tags in the chat. Gary Schofield, he's gone 9-17 Leigh. Fans form 9-17 Leigh. I'm going Leigh 18 plus. I just think Leigh now. They won't get this one wrong.
He's trying to get back in the good books. He's getting back in the good books with the Leigh fans.
No. Hey, mate, you know me, Steph. I stand by everything I ever say, mate.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Go for it. Hang on, before you do, there you go. We've got a couple. Cass by 6, Carl Windley, and Josh Sim has gone Cass 1-8. So we've got a couple saying Cass. Over to you, Steph.
It's a massive banana skin for Leigh. You know, we did the hard work against Warrington, you know, one that probably people didn't think we were gonna win, and we come away with the 2 points in that one. I think this has got the potential for us to fall in love with ourselves a little bit and think we've done the job. Adrian Lamb spoke at the press conference today to say that wasn't the case, and they knew how much of a fixture it was. The good thing is we've played them twice, so we know exactly how Cass play. Reggie's absolutely right. Horn's a massive miss for him, and he was a massive miss for him last time we played them as well. He got a ban just before we played them as well. Then another conspiracy there for getting Leigh in the playoffs. Yes, it's going to be a tough game, and Joel's absolutely right as well. When you're used to playing on pitches like the LSV, like the Halliwell Jones, like the DW, Totally Wicked, MKM, you know, they're all big, wide pitches. There's not many grounds like Cass left, and it is definitely an advantage for the Tigers in that respect. And it is going to be a very hostile crowd. I know they're trying to sell it out for the IMG points as well. So I think Leigh are going to take quite a few to that. So I suspect it will be a very vociferous, to use a posh word, vociferous crowd.
Nice,
I know. It's going to be a really good game, this one. I'm really looking forward to it. I think Leigh needs to put a marker down on this one. Like I said earlier, it's the first time this season where we have not got an injury. We could pick anyone we wanted. And like Reggie said, that's brilliant going into the back end of the season, and complete opposite from our last season where we went without injury all season. Then towards the back end, we picked them up. So I'd like to think this is going to be an 18+ win to Leigh. That's what I've got to back my team at the end, this late stage in the season, and that would set us up nicely going into a monster game at the Leigh Sports Village against Hull KR.
If they can replicate, I don't know what Craig's on about there with a dictionary. The man is a thesaurus in human form, is what he is. That's what he is. He's got an incredible repertoire when it comes to his.
I give away all my Encyclopedia Britannias because Mrs. Sale knows everything.
Hey, that door's going to fly open in a minute and a pan come flying through it. But anyway, that's by the by. But, you know, to be fair, you know, if the Leigh pack, to be fair, can replicate what they were doing last year, it doesn't matter. It's not a wide pitch. They'll just bully him down the middle for me. They'll just absolutely bully him down the middle, and that'll create space because it'll bring the defensive lines in, and you will have the space on the edges to attack. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good one for the
in his senior is one to watch though. He's played really well against us every game this season.
Lovely try out last week. The way they went through hands last week on that edge was wonderful. Really nice. You know what I mean?
Gary, my favourite player. He's doing.
Joe was on about, you know, the good old days when FC were in the top 3. You know, I've not seen soft hands like that since Fairy Liquid adverts. It was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful it was. Hey, where were the suds? Outstanding. Right, let's go to the Halliwell Jones. The Warrington Wolves taking on the Saints. I believe Saints might have a few injuries. Just putting that one out there for Greg. But yeah, Warrington 17 wins to 58 in the favour of Saints. No major surprises there. Warrington 3 wins in the last 5. Saints 3 wins in the last 5. This season in Super League, it's 1-0 to the wire, 2-0 if you count the Challenge Cup, of course. And on both occasions, it has to be said, Warrington have played very, very well against Saints this season. When was the last time you actually saw Warrington go into a game with Saints where they had a better attack and a better defence? That doesn't happen often. Warrington have scored 604 points, Saints 542. Defence for Warrington 317, Saints 950. It is third against fourth. This is a big game. I was watching Red V. They say it's a free hit. Nobody expects Saints to win this one over there. But yeah, no Paul Vaughan. But of course, there'll be plenty of Saints players that'll be missing on this as well. Morgan Knowles, of course, limped off at the weekend. I would be astonished to see him, and he played very well indeed in that game against the Giants, did Morgan Knowles. So that's a massive hammer blow for the Saints if Morgan Knowles doesn't get back for this one. But Saints, just so that you know, Joel, because I'm coming to you first, Saints are a 4-game winning streak at the Halliwell Jones Stadium going into this one. What are your thoughts?
After what I saw at the weekend, means absolutely nothing. I was very underwhelmed with St Helens, and I'm not saying that because they won. I just genuinely didn't think there was anything that was incredible. The only way that they had, the only way they scored some of their tries were from forward passes. Now, okay, fair enough, it happened, and in the score, the try was given. But yeah, I just don't see anything in them from certainly last week that would scare Wire off. So, yeah, I've gone Wire 18 plus.
Big win for the Wire, says Joe.
Yeah.
Steph, your thoughts?
Yeah, I get what Joel's saying there. I think they were a little bit underwhelming, and they will claim that, you know, they've not got the full side, and we have to give them that they haven't, and especially losing Knowles as well. If he doesn't play, then that's another massive, massive loss for them. Wire, you could say the same in terms of the man of steel in Dufty. You know, we go back to the Leigh game. I think he was a massive loss for Wire, and you could potentially have beat us if you'd have had him even with 12 men, I think. So he is a huge loss for Warrington in terms of their attacking threat. To lose your enforcer and, you know, in Paul Vaughan as well is another big loss. But I do think you, especially at home, I think you're going to have too much for him. And I think I'm a bit gutted. This is on at the same time as Leigh Cass, isn't it? Isn't it Friday?
No, it's
Saturday afternoon.
Oh, no. I'm not gutted. I'm really happy. I'll be able to watch this because I was looking for. I think it could be a really tasty game. This. I think both sides are going to rip in this one, and it's you know, Warrington are going to want to have a bit of a point to prove, I think, in this game. So I think, not that it's going to benefit us as well, but I do think Wire are going to win. I don't think it'll be an 18 plus. I think if Dufty was played, it would be 18 plus. But I'm going to go Wire 9-17.
Well, Dan Parker, take a bow, sir. That's a new name on me, Dan, but welcome to Super League Raw. He's asking, was the pitch invader being signed by FC because he made more meters than the full pack and scored a try? Oh, if Mr. Judson was here, there he may be having a little bit of a
on that though. I'm glad someone's I don't know. I'm glad someone's brought that up, because fair play to the players, the stewards, and the officials in that situation, because I believe the lad had some special needs or some form of thingy. It could have gone complete. That could have been a really bad advert if a steward had gone in and tackled him or something like that. And you know, the crowd as well, they dealt with that situation impeccably, I thought. And fair play to the lad for scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's be fair, made his day. You know,
Absolutely.
made his day, because that's all he wanted to do. He wanted to score.
Some things are bigger than sport.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Agree with you more. Before it comes to Greg, let's get into some of the other predictions. So Gary Schofield's gone Warrington 9-17. Fans form the same. I'm the same. I'm going Wire 9-17. Carl Shaw, Wire will bounce back 18 plus. Joe Dal Green He's talking about the kickoff time there. Nicola Burtonwood. Hello, Nick. Always a pleasure to have Nick with us. 9-17. The Wire from her. John Wilkinson, Wire 9-17. You do surprise me, John. Michael Bell going Saints by 6. 8. Sean Rollins going Wire 18 plus. Daz Dean the same. Callum Calver going 19 to 18. Not that it means out because he hasn't told us which way. That's shocking. You can tell you've been away for a while. Get off that fence, son. Let us know which way. Carla Louise, hello to Carla. Another Super League World member, 9-17, going the way of her. Yeah, he's Makinson still banned. Yeah, this is his second game ban. So there'll be no Tommy Makinson. Like I say, no, I'd be very surprised if Morgan Knowles is in on this as well. So yeah, they're doing it tough, Saints. But of course, Johnny Lomax got away with banning. Only got a grade B. Going into this one. Greg, Warrington against Saints.
Yeah, you get the news that sends any rugby league fan cold when it's announced that Chris Kendall is the referee against Saints. You just know then that, well, it could be a lottery. The guy's been announced at Vegas. He's having a week's residence there before the game, apparently. Talking about Dufty missing, get back to some serious points before I get sacked. Kai Taylor-Ray is a talent. Didn't get much chance to express himself because we were down to 12 men for a lot of the game.
Well, yeah.
Friday. Hey? Yeah, we're not talking about that, though. You talk about Paul Vaughan being an enforcer. I think Lee Yates is equally as an enforcer. His tackle on Trout that sent him colliding with Vaughan's chest was a great tackle on Friday night. So, you know what? You don't know, do you? Because you don't know what's going to happen. And this is a problem now in predictions. There's going to be a point where a player's going to be lay on the floor and the referee's going to go to his earpiece and the whole ground goes, oh, no. And you just know what the outcome of it is going to be. Warrington 18 plus.
Warrington 18 plus. Which one am I doing?
It's too late. You have to spit it out, Greg.
All right, I'm getting emotional.
So see what you're going. Warrington what?
18 plus.
18 plus to the Wire. All I would say is, and I hope I'm wrong when I say this, I will be amazed if it's 13 on 13 at 80 minutes. And I hate to say that before a ball is even kicked.
I said it's going to be tasty. That's why
I think this could be. I think this one could be a little bit tasty. But let's get to a game of, real importance. What
did you say, Dave?
I've gone Wire 9-17. Like I said, Warrington for me will finish. It looks like Warrington are going to finish third. That's what it looks like. Don't get me wrong. They might creep into the top two. They're not going to win the Shield.
Well, Warrington can lose the next 3 games and still finish.
Yeah. They've got a chance, depending on the points difference. But one more win, it's done and dusted. I can't see Warrington losing 3 on the bounce. He says,
"Why is Peter Mason giving me a red card?"
I don't know. But yeah, I think for me this is a massive one for Saints. I really do. I was listening to, and again, we've got a bit of time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the next 2 in a minute, and I'm not, we'll have a proper debate over these 2 as well. But Red VTV and St. Helens fans, for me, I don't know why you're feeling so comfy. If Warrington were to beat Saints this week, they remain on 28 points. If Catalan Dragons beat the Red Devils, they go on 28, and the Red Devils stay on 28. The Leopards beat Castleford. The Leopards are now 4th. Yep. You then go to Castleford, St. Helens fans. If you win that, you go on 30 points. Okay? If Saints beat you, if Leigh beat you, Leigh on 31. They're above you. There's a very high probability that Catalan, if they beat Salford, beat FC and beat London, they're above you. And we haven't even talked Salford yet, getting another win between now and the end of the season. So let me tell you now, St. Helens fans, this is a massive game. Never mind a free hit. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when they said they've got a free hit against Warrington. No, they've not. Saints need to win this game. I think if Saints lose this game, Leigh, I would, on current form, Leigh would be favourite to win the last one at the LSV. Saints need to win this game.
It'd make I think the league game against St Helens is going to be massive, absolutely massive, and
especially if they use this.
Yeah, if that's not a sellout, then I don't know what will be at the sports village. I think if you look at monster game, but the good thing is it's so good, isn't it, that we're at 3 games left and anything could happen. We still don't know the 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We still don't know the playoffs. We still don't know who's going to finish bottom. We can't ask for more than that, can we? We can't.
But nobody has a divine right, Steph. Nobody has a divine right.
Of course they don't.
The playoffs, and at the moment, I think there's a few St Helens fans who, for whatever reason, believe they're in the playoffs. No, you're not.
No,
it's a massive game at the HJ on Saturday.
I still think they've got a very good chance of getting in the playoffs.
I do.
But there's so much that could happen in the next 3 games, and some massive. I mean, there's no bigger than Catalans and Salford for me in terms of the playoff race. That's one where one is going to lose 2 points in the top 6, or top 6 race. Sorry, not in the top 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all to play for. Anything could happen.
We don't know where Joel's gone. Joel's jettisoned.
I think he's gone getting a whiskey so he doesn't.
He's gone to get a scotch. Oh, well, hopefully he's back in a bit. But we're going to move on. We're going to move on to this one.
Can I just add to that, Dave? I just hope that game isn't spoiled by a red card. I hope it's 13 against 13.
Let's hope so.
Have some common in all the games this weekend, not just the YSA game. In every game, there's been so much fuss and anger from rugby league fans this week about red cards. Let's keep 13 against 13 in every game.
Just a thingy on that. I think it's valid. There's 4 teams this year that haven't had a red card. A third of the league hasn't had a red card. Leeds, Hull KR, London, and Leigh have not had a red card. Warrington have only had 2 red cards. They normally average over the last 10 years 1. So they've only had 1 more than they'd normally get. And it's teams like Hull FC who are actually on 4. So you could argue, there is an argument to say that some teams are, and some players are reacting better to the new system than others. And I think it's not I do think that there's a valid point in terms of, yes, red cards have been thingy, but there's also a counter argument to say, and the stats are there to show it, that some teams and some players have adapted to the new rules a bit better. And I think the other argument as well is that they've outlawed we were going to be faced with the under the armpit tackle.
Yeah, that's gone.
And I think because of what they've done this season, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just to provide a talking point. Because of what they've done, they've now outlawed that, which I think is a fantastic result, because that would have been a death of the sport in terms of we would have been going mental in terms of that. So it's just to point that out in terms of there has been some teams that have adapted to it better than others.
You do realise, don't you, that you've just cursed those 4 teams this weekend?
Well, I may have, but it's a point worth making.
It is a point worth making. As is Tom's JWH next year. I mean, imagine JWH is next year.
He'll play about 5 games.
I know.
Wow.
I watched a thingy earlier on that was the NRL from the 1970s, and they'd be in prison.
They would be in prison, mate. They would. And I don't know where Callum Calver's been, but he's saying Kendall's going to give Duffy a red card. He'd have a job, mate. He's in the hospital bed. I don't know. I think that'd be a bit. Even by Kendall's standards, that's a bit of it.
Dave, anything is possible with Chris Kendall. He might give me a red card in the stands.
Yeah, well, mate, yeah. Anyway, let's get
one on Friday night, I must admit.
Let's get into there, Ted. This is a great game. This is a great game. Salford against Cal. Like I say, if Salford win this, they're done. They're in. Not a problem. Salford, this is the game for them. They win this, it takes them to 30 points. That should be enough. For the Catalan Dragons, they win this. It really is going to be a fascinating last 2 weeks for those playoff places. It really is. Both of these 2 sides, well, not in great form. 3 losses on the spin now for Catalan Dragons. They have played each other once this season, and Dragons won 20 points to 10 in France. Last season, in this corresponding fixture, the Dragons won 19-8. The Dragons are on a 3-game winning streak against the Salford Red Devils. It's 5th against 7th. There's not an awful lot in it. I mean, actually, the defence is that's really interesting, isn't it? So the Salford Red Devils, 465 points scored to 426 for the Dragons, give or take 1 point, 40 point difference there. But the defence, Red Devils, higher than the Dragons, but they conceded 467 points. The Dragons only 388. 1-2 on the Red Devils, 7-4 the Dragons. I mean, this honestly, you've got to tune in for this one. This one's going to be a belter. Greg, Salford, Catalan, where are you going, mate?
I'm going Salford 9-17.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really am. I think they've been beaten up by Wigan. I think Salford are, after that, I think it was a glitch against Leigh. No offence to Leigh. Leigh played really, really well. I think they've clicked. It's home. I'm just hoping that lots of Salford fans turn up to cheer them on. Now they've got the ground, kind of the future confirmed for the next few years. I'm going Salford 9-17, and I want it to be a decent crowd there. I really do. What day is it on? What day is it?
I think it's Saturday, or Sunday.
Sunday.
Apologies for Joel. He's had to get off. He's sent me his apologies. So I'll tell you, Joel's gone Salford 9-17.
If it wasn't on Saturday, I might have gone to this.
So Greg, you're going Salford
9-17.
Schofield's gone the same. I'm going 9-17. I have to be honest, I'm torn here. I want Salford to win because actually for Rowley and what they've achieved this season, I want them in the playoffs. The heartbreak last year for Salford, I think the fact that they've come back against the odds this year, against everybody's odds, and been in that top 6 for as long as they have, the heart is saying I want Salford to win into 9-17. But the neutral in me, if Catalan were to win this, what a last 2 weeks of Super League we've got with these playoff places. It's going to mean this time next week. The debate will be luxurious. Now we are talking magnums. Deary me. Get your taste buds around that, baby. Steph, your thoughts, mate, on this one?
Yeah, I think it's another. We treated here, I think, this week to 3 cracking matches in terms of the one we're going to come to shortly, this one, and the Wire Saints game. I think are all going to be absolutely amazing matches. I'm like you, Dave, on this one. I'm a bit torn. Mathematically, it's a bit difficult, especially after 4 Peronis, to try and work out who I want to win in this one. I think I want Salford to win. I think that's the best result for us. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Because only reason
because
because Catalan have got
Catalan's got all FC in London,
FC in London to finish, so they should finish on 30. Is that right? They're on 26 at the minute.
They're on 26, so they'd be finished.
So they should finish as a minimum. You'd like to think on 30. So if they beat these, then they should finish on 32, which puts them ahead of Leigh. So whereas I think Salford have got a bit more of a tougher couple of games after that. Is that right?
Yeah, Salford have got a really tough running. I think Salford's probably got one of the toughest runnings, I think. They've got, they've not. FC, so they should win that. And then Wigan Warriors the last game. So that's a tough one. Like I say the easiest of the runnings is the Catalan Dragons. Probably in terms of playoffs, you've got the toughest, KR followed by Saints.
Yes.
To be fair.
Yeah. So I think from a Leigh perspective, we would want Salford to win this and put Catalan behind. But I am going to go Salford. I think a bit like what I said earlier in terms of games taken out with the London one. I think London put everything into that one. I think Catalan put a lot into that performance against Wigan. I thought they surprised me how well they played actually in that game. But I think having to travel over, Salford probably hurting a little bit from that whole KR result. They know they need to win this one to be certain.
So which way you got? What score are you giving it, mate?
I'm going to go Salford 9-17.
Yeah, a lot of love for that score. Schofield's the only one with a difference. He's gone 1-8. But guys, like I say, look at that. You know, Saints lose. Not saying they will, but if they do, they stay on 28. The Red Devils lose. They stay on 28. Leopards win. They're on 31. Dragons, of course, will be on 28. 29, sorry. The Dragons win, of course, against Salford. They'd be on 28. And the Rhinos win against FC. They're on 28. I mean, that is just going to be incredible. If that's the way it pans out, it probably won't. But if it did, what a discussion we've got next week on Super League Raw Weekly. And how good is that final whistle going to be next Monday for your commute to work? Because I'm sure the fans forum, the members of Super League Raw, will be out of plenty to have a debate about that on Sunday night for your listening pleasure on Monday morning for your commute to work. Right, let's get to it. We've done it. We've left it till the end, and rightly so. It deserved to be the end of the show. The Wigan Warriors taking on Hull KR, the Robins, this coming weekend. This is it. This, for me, could very well decide who takes away the League Leaders Shield in 2024. It's not done and dusted. Don't get me wrong. Like we said, both of these two sides have got difficult. Even if KR were to win, they've got difficult fixtures on the horizon. Obviously, they've got Saints and then Leeds to finish off. Wigan, like we said, I think they go up against Salford as one of theirs, and Leeds as well. Two teams fighting for playoffs. So both of these two teams have got difficult fixtures. Teams that have got things to play for this season are next after this. So there still could be twists and turns, but you do think whoever wins this has got one hand very, very firmly clasped on the League Leaders Shield. Wigan 27, KR 12 in the history of Super League. Wigan come in on a 5-game winning streak. KR come in on an 8-game winning streak. Something's got to give here. In 2024, of course, they played each other once in round 9 in Super League. KR 26-10 winners. But who can forget that semi-final in Doncaster, Wigan 38, Hull KR 6. So if you want to count the Challenge Cup, it's one apiece. First against second. And again, at the start of the season, who would have envisaged, one, that KR would be top after 24 rounds, but they would have a better 4 and a better defence than the Wigan Warriors. 649 in attack to 597. And Hull KR's defence, 286 to 318. We purr all the time about Hull KR and how good they are to watch going forward. What a defensive effort in 2024 from the Robins. Unbelievably, all that said, maybe that semi-final looming large in people's minds. And, of course, it is a home game for Wigan. Wigan favourite 1-2. Very tight, though, 17-10. The Robins, again, I think it was Joe Dalgreen saying there was a bit of value in Hull FC. I think there's a bit of value in the Robins at 10-17, quite frankly. But yeah, unbelievable. And like we say, don't forget our sponsor, Rugby League 3/4. They'll be discussing all the odds going into this weekend's matches, as always. Right. Joel's not here, so I'll tell you exactly where he's at with this. He's gone Wigan 18+. Wow is what I would say. That one.
Wow.
That's big. That's big from Joel. Gary Schofield's gone Wigan 9-17. 9-17 for Gary Schofield. I'm going 9-17. I'm not going to leave mine to the end, but I'll tell you. I'm going 9-17 Wigan. I think French will be better for his run out in Catalan. I really, really do. I'm not confident in that result, by the way. What I'm looking, do you know what? This could. I want a ding dong. I want a ding dong. I want to see Brett, because these two teams have put on a spectacle this year at times. I want to see tries that make you go, wow. The ones that make you almost fall off your city. You know what I mean? The ones whereby you're that animated, you don't mean to, but the dog very nearly gets assaulted. Do you know what I mean? You jump up that much, your dog can't move. Do you know what I mean?
I haven't even got a dog, Dave. So yeah,
well, for you, it's just the cat, innit? But do you know what I mean? I want that as a neutral. I want that. I want to feel it. I want to feel this game. I want to be in it. Oh, rugby league and it's fine. It's come on. Mikey Lewis, Peter Petter, Hiku, 9 levels. Then you've got Big Junior, Frenchy Field. Oh, it's on, isn't it? It's absolutely on. What a mouth-watering game this one's going to be. Best game in the world. Steph, come on. Get happy. Get your smile on. Get giddy.
I'm always happy.
Talk to me about this. What a game.
Rugby league's the winner. I'm always happy. I'm always happy. This is the one I miss. This is Friday night, isn't it?
Yeah.
I knew there was one that I missed. That I think, I'm gutted I can't watch this one live. It's probably the one from the second half of the season that most people would have been as neutrals looking forward to watching this game. The two best teams in the comp, you'd argue, with Warrington just outside of that, going head to head. Massive crowd, apparently. I know they've sold over 15,000 already for this one. I expect it to be pushing 20. I know when big games come, the Warriors come out, don't they, in terms of supporting the club, and I think they'll, especially when those kind of numbers get mentioned, the more start to come out, and I just think it's going to be a huge game on Friday night. It's always in the back of my mind what Reggie says, and I take a lot of counsel from Reggie in terms of the Wigan Warriors, and having not have much Super League experience watching myself from a Leigh perspective. Reggie's seen a lot more than me and knows what the Wigan club can do, and I think he's absolutely right in terms of they don't have to play the best; they just find a way to win. But they have got a rusty Bevan French, who was rusty in Catalan. They've got a rusty, probably Harry Smith, who's going to be coming back, who's not played. Hull KR come into this absolutely flying with for me, man of steel in Mikey Lewis in the form of his life at the moment and scoring tries like he did at the weekend. So it's literally flip a coin on this one. I think the reason why Hull KR's defence is so good is because their attack is so good. The opposition don't get the ball as often as them. That's why the defence is so good. As well as them being very good defenders as well. They're a team. That's the thing with Hull KR. They're a team. And what Willie Peters has done there should not be underestimated. He's created.
Coach of the year?
For me, he is 100%. Yeah. There's others that are in contention, but for me, on what they've done at that club and the squad they've built, and he's not had any. For me, he's not had any failures really in terms of signings. The signings is all you'd expect one or two, and everyone thought Hiku was going to be that one when they played him at fullback at the beginning of the season, and he couldn't catch and he couldn't kick goals for Toffee. Now look at him in centres; he's absolutely flying. And you've got to put that down to one, Willie Peters' decision making, but also he must be coaching him to play that way as well. And he should be right up there in the conversations, if not the coach of the season for me, with a couple of games left to go. But I'm doing a Reggie now, aren't I? I'm waffling. I'm gonna stick my neck out and say Hull KR 1-8.
Hull KR 1-8. KR. Yeah. So you're 9-17 the wire, and you're going Hull KR 1-8.
Yeah. Apologies, I didn't send you my predictions this week, did I?
No, actually, I've just realised. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong bloody ones. Right. Okay. So yeah. To clarify, KR 1-8. Schofield. Joel Wigan 1-8. Fans form KR 9-17. You're going 1-8. I'm going Wigan 9-17. And then we'll get into the chat. This is interesting. Do you know what I mean? You tune into Super League Raw and Pete Mason gives you a maths lesson. What do 36 cherries make? A pear. I haven't got a clue. I really don't. I don't know what that means, Pete. I really don't, mate. Don't know what that means. What's that as a prediction? Don't know, mate. I'm going pear. Pear, peach, apple, God only knows. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've done maths, I have to say, on that one. Josh is going KR by 2. Sean Rowland's
grapes.
Rovers 9-17. They look like cherries to me. Dan Parker going 1-8. The Rovers. Dawn Kirkby says that they're nothing like they were at Doncaster. You're absolutely right. And good to hear that you're on the mend as well, Dawn. Our love and best wishes to you as always. Ryan Moody, our newest member, KR by 12. Up the Robins. Well, God, Ryan's another Robin. They're taking over at Super League Raw memberships of the Robins. Nicola Burtonwood 1-8. Mighty Robbins 1-8 for Mark Smith as well. Any win will do. She's turning into Jason Donovan. Is our donkey. She's closing her eyes. She's pulling back the curtains. Oh, any win
Can't
will
you see
do.
for certain though?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, a flash of lights. Oh, anyway, we'll sing that at the end. We'll go out. We'll do a karaoke version. Outstanding. Freddie McGilvey 1-8 Wigan. John Wilson 1-8 Wigan. Craig Forth 1-8 Wigan. Right, Greg, over to you. KR Warriors. What are your thoughts?
Oh, do you know what? This is another one where I've gone from one to another all week. Harry Smith's back. He's going to be rusty. Bevan French will be better than he was. Jay Field's back. I think this, though, is where this could be the one where Mikey Lewis kicking is found out. Goal kicking is found out.
Yeah, that's a good
that
point.
That could be the difference.
Yeah.
Good, Joe.
Great shout out.
That could very well be the difference in, I think Reece Martin next year, if KR don't win it this year, Reece Martin could be the last piece of the jigsaw that gets him over the line next year with his goal kicking. But then you've got the KR pack, which is bigger than the Wigan pack.
Yeah.
You've got Mikey Lewis. You've got Hiku. Wigan have still got some of the young kids in there. Hiku against Eckersley. As good as Eckersley is, he was found out against Warrington at the Brick Stadium.
That's correct.
A few weeks ago. This could very well be a golden point game.
But which way?
And again, it's a game that I hope isn't ruined. And this is, but you're laughing at me, but this is what every rugby league fan is now thinking, that the referee doesn't go to his earpiece and puts his hands up like that after a tackle. And that's what this is what every rugby league fan is thinking now, going into every game. Are we going to see 13 against 13, or are we going to get decisions that sway the result? I hope not. I really, really hope not. And if it's 13 aside, and if everything's equal, I am going Hull KR 1-8.
KR 1-8, there it is. It came in the end. It's KR 1-8 for Reggie. So only me and Joel are going Wigan. The rest are going KR. Oh, dear me, Don Kirkby. Is the light dimming? Will the dream do too?
KR game. Who do you think, Sean?
What's this, Sean?
Who do you think's refereeing Wigan?
Is
Wigan.
Liam Moore?
It's Liam Moore.
Liam Moore. Yeah, it's Liam Moore. Oliver Deering, he's gone Wigan 1-8. Hello, Oliver, Super League Raw member. 4 people have done the QR code. We've had 1 member join. I think everybody's waiting until the end of the show this week. We'll be giving shout-outs next week to our newest members as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've loved the show, may you return to the beginning. Oh, that'll be tomorrow on your podcast. You can listen to it again on your way into work. I hope the light's not dimming and the dream isn't too for you, Miss Dawn Kirby out there, as the rest of us. Oh, yes. Oh, don't you worry about that. We're waiting. Oh, we're waiting. And we're anticipating. Any dream will do. Eckersley out. Big shout, that one. Ben, quick to throw. Ben Failer is the video ref as well. Ouch for Dawn Kirby. Right, very mindful of the time. Gentlemen, big thank you to Joel, who's no longer with us. He's back. He'll be back next week. Greg, Steph, as always, massive thank you to you guys for your time and your love and your support. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it clean on social media. Respectful banter, absolutely. Please. Come on, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it friendly. That's what this community is all about. We've already enjoyed another edition.
Oh, yes, it is. It's Jack Smith referee.
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith referee. Yeah.
We've got the Moore brothers. I was a bit confused because I'm sure Aaron Moore's reffing and Liam Moore's video ref for us on Friday.
To you, to me. To you.
To me, to you, to you, to me. Anyway, we've got to go because our time is up. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed Weekly. We'll be back for the Final Whistle podcast on Monday morning for you to listen to on the way to work. Get to the game. Enjoy the Rugby League. This one, Wigan KR, is not to be missed. Some belters, Salford, Catalan. Oh, yes, if you can't go to a game, get your beers in, get your wine in, get your tea, your coffee stocked up, get your pizza, get your takeaway man round. Do whatever you need to do. All you need to do is watch quality Super League, Rugby League, because it is the greatest game on earth, regardless of what anybody may tell you. We'll be back next week. Here's the top performers after 24 rounds. Adios.
Adios, amigos.
Here are your top performers after 24 rounds of the Betfred Super League. Still leading the try-scoring chart is Leigh Marshall of the Wigan Warriors with 22. We have a new top try assister in Super League. It's Lachlan Lamb of the Leigh Leopards with 23. The most beaters continue to have been made by Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 4,036. Whilst the most tackle bust remains Lockie Miller of Leeds Rhinos with 202. There's no change to the clean break chart, 32 and counting for Leigh Marshall of the Wigan Warriors. Whilst once again Hakeem Maludi has overtaken Herman SASA to lead the offload chart with 53. The most hard meters made in Super League continues to be Reece Martin of the Leeds Rhinos with 2,659, whilst the most tackles have still come from his captain Cameron Smith with 871. The top goal kicker is once more Mark Sneed with 83. These are your top performers and from the Betfred Super League after 24 rounds.